Before you sleep tonight, one sentence can open the floodgates of abundance. Speak it, and 2025 will not pass as another year of lack. It will end as the year of overflow. In this teaching, I will show you why most people end each year poorer in spirit and purse, and why a few end it richer beyond imagining. You will learn how idle words of lack cut off supply, while a single decree of truth can open channels of money from directions you never considered. I will give you stories of men and women who spoke their wealth into being, who watched unexpected checks arrive, debts dissolve, and fortunes unfold. I will show you how to guard your tongue from poverty talk, how to fill it with decrees of increase, how to seal every word with grace so that money comes in safe and perfect ways. And before we close, I will give you the exact sentence to speak tonight, the decree that will make 2025 the year you grow richer than you ever dreamed. Here is something most people completely miss, and because they miss it, they go through year after year complaining of lack, praying for supply, working themselves weary, and yet finding their purse still empty when the year ends. They do not see that it is not labor that determines riches, nor chance, nor even the market or the times. It is the word they speak. The tongue plants riches, or the tongue plants poverty. By thy words thou shalt be justified, and by thy words thou shalt be condemned. That is scripture, and it is law. Look around you. Do you not hear people planting poverty every day? One says, "I never get ahead." Another sighs, "Money goes out faster than it comes in." Another jokes, "I'll end up in the poorhouse yet." They think their words are harmless. They think it is humor. They think it is truth-telling. But the subconscious does not laugh at jokes. The subconscious does not excuse honesty. The subconscious does not soften a careless phrase. It records every word as a seed. And once planted, the seed must sprout. Every complaint is a seed of lack. Every sigh of "I can't afford" is a seed of want. Every jest of poverty is a seed of poverty, and the harvest must come. I knew a woman who, when pressed by difficulty, would say to her friends, "I'll probably end up living in a trunk." She thought it was only a phrase, something to make light of her struggles. But her subconscious heard it as decree, and within a year her affairs collapsed, and she found herself with little more than a trunk to her name. She had planted the seed of poverty with her tongue, and the harvest was faithful to her word. That is how exact this law is. You may not mean it, but the subconscious means it. You may joke, but the subconscious does not joke. It hears, it obeys, it manifests. Do you see the stakes here? Getting this wrong means that even while you labor hard, even while you budget carefully, even while you pray earnestly, your own words may be canceling your good, planting lack where you long for plenty. But getting this right means that your speech itself becomes wealth. Your tongue becomes a fountain of supply. Your decrees become channels of money flowing toward you. Speak lack, and you reap lack. Speak riches, and you reap riches. Speak want, and want rushes to you. Speak abundance, and abundance hastens to your hand. So hear me well. Your tongue is the planter of your harvest. If you want 2025 to end richer than you ever dreamed, you must begin now by planting only words of wealth. Stop saying, "I can't afford." Stop saying, "I never get ahead." Stop saying, "Money slips through my fingers." These are seeds of poverty. Plant instead, "I have endless supply." Money comes to me freely, richly, and endlessly, under grace. In perfect ways, say it aloud. Plant it daily. Let it become the groove of your subconscious. For as surely as weeds sprout when seeds of complaint are sown, so surely will riches come when seeds of abundance are planted. Now what I am about to share may sound almost too simple, and yet it is the very secret that separates those who live in endless lack from those who draw money as though it were magnetized to their hands. The tongue is not only the planter of seeds, it is the wand of power. With it you bless, and with it you curse. With it you command, and what you command must appear. This is why I called one of my books, Your Word is Your Wand. For the word is not a suggestion, not a hope, not a prayer sent into the air. It is the wand of spirit that points, directs, and compels substance to take form. You need not strive. You need not chase. You need not beg. You speak, and the law obeys. I recall a woman who came to me with only $2 to her name. She was desperate, yet she was willing to try what I taught. I said to her, "Take those $2 and call them your magic purse. Say over them each day, 'I bless this purse, and I call it crammed, jammed, bulging with money, under grace in perfect ways.' Do not look at what you see, look at what you decree. Do not confess the lack, confess the abundance." She obeyed me, though her friends laughed at her. Day after day she blessed her purse. Day after day she declared it bulging with money. She held to her decree with faith. And one day, seemingly out of nowhere, she received a gift of $6,000. Her $2 had indeed become a purse overflowing, because she had used her tongue as a wand. She had not begged, she had not slaved, she had not plotted. She had spoken, and the law had answered. Now most people do the opposite. Instead of using the tongue as a wand, they use it as a whip. They lash themselves daily with decrees of lack. They open their purse and say, "There is nothing in it." They pay a bill and sigh, "Money goes out faster than it comes in." They rehearse poverty, and poverty appears. Their tongue is still a wand, but it is a wand pointing toward want, and so their harvest is want. Do you see the power that lies hidden in your own mouth? You carry a wand that never ceases to work. It will work whether you bless or curse, whether you command increase or command decrease. It does not rest, it does not argue, it does not hesitate. It simply obeys the decree. That is why I tell you, use it wisely. Speak riches, declare abundance, bless your money. Call your purse crammed and jammed and bulging with good. Say, "Money comes to me richly and endlessly. Every bill is paid, every debt dissolved, every channel overflowing under grace in perfect ways." Say it not as a wish but as a decree, and watch how quickly the unseen substance of supply rushes to fill the command. For your word is your wand, and the wand works whether you wield it in ignorance or in wisdom. If you would end 2025 richer than you ever dreamed, begin now to wield it in wisdom. Bless, decree, command, and let the law fulfill what your tongue has spoken. Here is something that must be understood if you wish to move into a new year free of the chains of the past. Your subconscious mind is like a phonograph, recording every word you have ever spoken about money, every sigh of lack, every complaint of debt, every jest of poverty. It does not forget, it does not erase, it plays back the grooves that have been cut into it, over and over, until the sound becomes your very life. That is why some people, even when they work harder, even when they try new ventures, even when they pray with desperation, still find the same lack returning, the same debts reappearing, the same struggle dogging them. It is not that the law has failed them, it is that the record of lack is still playing, and the subconscious, faithful servant that it is, carries out the orders it has been given year after year. I have met many who say to me, "Miss Shinn, I cannot understand why money always slips through my fingers. I try, I save, I labor, but still it vanishes." And I ask them, "What have you been saying for years? What words have you rehearsed?" And they recall, "I have always said, I cannot afford this, I never have enough, I am always behind." And I tell them, there is your answer. You have etched grooves of lack into your subconscious, and it is playing them faithfully. It is not your work that holds you poor, it is your words. But the good news is this: no record, however old, however deep, however worn, is unbreakable. Every groove can be shattered. Every old song of lack can be silenced. And the way you break it is not with effort, not with worry, not with schemes, but with the hammer of a new decree, spoken boldly, spoken faithfully, spoken until the subconscious accepts it as the new law. You cannot whisper a decree once and expect it to override years of rehearsed poverty. You must speak it daily, hammering truth against the lie until the old record cracks and the new record begins to play. I recall one student who had for years declared, "I cannot afford it." Every time she wanted something, those words were her answer. "I cannot afford." Her subconscious had recorded it, and her life had obeyed it, shutting down channels of money, blocking opportunities, closing doors. I told her, "You must smash that phrase. Each time you are tempted to say, 'I cannot afford,' replace it at once with, 'I have endless supply, and what I need comes to me under grace in perfect ways.' Do not delay. Do not excuse it. Do not let the old phrase pass your lips again. Break it every time until the subconscious learns the new song." She obeyed, though at first she felt foolish, for appearances still mocked her. But appearances are shadows and truth is substance. And as she kept declaring her endless supply, the old groove broke and new channels opened. Soon, money began to come from unexpected directions. Gifts arrived, debts dissolved, opportunities unfolded, until she stood free of the old record, living in the new song of supply. So I tell you, if you want 2025 to end richer than you ever dreamed, you must first smash the old records of lack. Stop repeating the grooves of poverty. Refuse to let "I can't afford" pass your lips again. Say instead, "I have endless supply. Money comes to me richly, freely, endlessly, under grace, in perfect ways." Say it daily, say it faithfully, say it until the old grooves are shattered and the subconscious begins to play only the song of abundance. For the law cannot fail, and the body, the mind, the purse, the world must all obey the new decree once it is engraved upon the soul. Here is a truth that will sound like folly to the world. For the world worships hard work as though it were God, bowing down to labor, sacrificing health, family, and peace of mind at its altar, believing that if they only toil long enough, strive hard enough, grind unceasingly, they must become rich. And yet, look around you, and what do you see? You see men and women who labor from dawn to dusk, who give their strength and their years to ceaseless effort, and still they end in lack. You see them weary, bent, broken in body, their hands calloused, their nerves frayed, their eyes heavy with fatigue, and yet their purse still empty, their debts still unpaid, their hearts still anxious. Why? Because toil alone does not bring wealth. Work without law is only exhaustion. Striving without decree is only futility. Labor without the spoken word of supply is only spinning wheels in sand. The scripture says, "It is the Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom." Do you hear that? Give, not sell, not barter, not withhold until you sweat and strain, but give. Supply is a gift, not a wage. Abundance is inheritance, not purchase. Wealth is a law, not a gamble. Yet men insist on trying to earn what God has already given, and so they toil in vain, pushing against the current, exhausting themselves while the river of supply flows untouched because they will not speak the word that opens it. I have known men who worked harder than any others, who rose early and stayed late, who chased after every opportunity with sweat upon their brow, and yet they never prospered. They did not understand that work without the law is toil, and toil without decree is barren. And I have known others who seemed to labor lightly, who spoke their word, who decreed their supply, and money flowed to them through channels unexpected, doors opened to them without strain, and their wealth came with ease. The difference was not chance, it was not inheritance, it was not cleverness, it was law. One group trusted toil, the other trusted truth. One spoke complaint, the other spoke supply, and the law rewarded each according to their decree. Do not misunderstand me. I do not say sit idle and fold your hands. I say let your work be led by the word, let your effort be directed by decree. Let your labor be clothed in affirmation. Work when spirit leads. Act when intuition speaks, but never toil in fear, never labor in doubt, never grind in complaint. For fear is inverted faith, and toil born of fear plants only lack. But when you speak your word of supply, when you declare, God is my unfailing source, and money comes to me richly, freely, endlessly, under grace, in perfect ways, then your work becomes effortless, your actions fruitful, your channels blessed. The law goes before you, the way is prepared, the increase flows without strain. So hear me now. If you are weary of toil, if you are tired of ending each year with less than you hoped, stop worshiping hard labor as though it were your savior. Stop bowing to the idol of toil. Speak your word, plant your decree, command your supply. Then work as Spirit directs, but never in fear, never in strain, never in desperation. For toil alone will leave you weary, but decree will leave you rich. And if you want 2025 to end richer than you ever dreamed, you must cast off the lie of toil and take up the truth of the word. For it is the word that opens the floodgates, and it is the law that brings abundance without sorrow. Here is a mystery that binds millions, though it is no mystery at all once the law is understood. Fear is simply faith turned upside down, faith reversed, faith twisted to serve the shadow instead of the light. Fear is faith in poverty. Fear is faith in debt. Fear is faith in failure. Fear is faith in lack. It is creative power used destructively, and the law, being impartial, fulfills it just as faithfully as it fulfills faith in riches. Men say, I am afraid I shall lose my job, and soon they lose it. Women sigh, I fear the money will not last the month, and soon it is gone. Families murmur, we dread the bills coming due, and the bills arrive heavier than before. Do you not see? Their fear was only faith inverted, and the law, being exact, brought forth the harvest of their decree. I knew a man who lived always preparing for failure. Each time money came to him, he whispered, this will not last. Each time opportunity appeared, he muttered, something will go wrong. Each time he felt a glimpse of prosperity, he said, I had better save, for disaster is coming. He thought he was being prudent, cautious, wise. But his subconscious did not hear prudence, it heard prophecy. It recorded his fear as faith, and it built his life upon that foundation. His riches slipped away, his opportunities collapsed, his affairs crumbled. Not because he lacked talent, not because chance was against him, but because his faith was placed in lack instead of abundance. Fear was his god, and fear rewarded him with the harvest he had sown. Do you see how exact this law is? You cannot hold fear in your mind and expect faith to bless you. You cannot plant weeds and expect wheat. The soil of the subconscious does not argue. It does not say, he did not mean it. He was only worrying. It simply receives and it multiplies. And fear, rehearsed long enough, will always produce lack. But the same law that fulfills fear will also fulfill faith. Turn it around, and the harvest turns with it. Say instead, I have no fear of lack, for God is my unfailing supply. Large sums of money come to me quickly, under grace, in perfect ways. Declare it in the face of bills. Declare it in the face of appearances. Declare it even when fear trembles within you. For each decree of faith smashes a groove of fear. Each declaration of abundance overrides a record of lack, until, at last, the subconscious no longer plays the dirge of fear, but the song of supply. So I say to you, stop rehearsing disasters, stop prophesying ruin, stop feeding your subconscious with fears dressed as prudence. Fear is a liar, and yet fear is fulfilled because it is faith in the negative. Refuse to serve it any longer. Replace every fear with its opposite decree. When fear whispers, the money will run out, answer, money comes to me endlessly, under grace, in perfect ways. When fear says, I will never get ahead, answer, I move from glory to glory, from riches to riches, for God is my unfailing source. When fear says, something will go wrong, answer, everything goes right for me, for the law is on my side, and supply is mine by divine right. Do this daily, do it faithfully, and you will see the shadow flee, for faith will rise, and faith will clothe you with abundance. Fear attracts debt. Faith attracts wealth. Fear shrinks the purse. Faith multiplies it. Fear closes doors. Faith opens them wide. And if you would end 2025 richer than you ever dreamed, you must choose faith over fear. Decree abundance instead of disaster. Speak riches instead of ruin. For as surely as fear builds poverty, faith builds wealth, and the law will fulfill whichever master you serve. Now, I will tell you something that may surprise you, for it is not spoken often, yet it is one of the greatest secrets of demonstration. Money does not always come by the path you expect. It does not always flow through the channels you watch. It does not always arrive from the places you plan. It comes through the channels that Spirit chooses, and Spirit speaks through intuition. Intuition is the voice of the divine within, the still, small whisper that nudges you toward the step you would not have thought to take, the door you might have overlooked, the path that appears foolish to reason yet proves perfect in demonstration. Those who ignore intuition miss their supply. Those who obey it find riches appearing as if by magic. I recall a woman who came to me with only $8 in her purse. She was weary, anxious, certain that lack would soon overwhelm her. But she told me she had a hunch to go home, though reason said she should go elsewhere to seek help. I told her, "Follow the hunch, for it is the voice of Spirit." She obeyed, and when she returned home, she found a letter waiting for her. And in that letter was the news of an inheritance, money that was hers by divine right, money that arrived just when she needed it. Reason would have led her to toil, to worry, to beg. Intuition led her to supply. Do you see how exact this law is? Intuition is never anxious, never hurried, never loud. Fear shouts, reason argues, doubt clamors, but intuition whispers. It speaks in quiet nudges, in inner knowing, in gentle direction. And if you will trust it, if you will obey it, it will always guide you to your good. One man may be led to a conversation that opens a channel of wealth. Another may be nudged to release a burden he thought he must carry. Another may be guided to bless a small sum he had despised, only to watch it multiply. The form differs, but the principle is the same. Spirit knows the way, and Spirit speaks through intuition. Most people miss their riches because they despise the whisper. They say, "This makes no sense. This is foolish. I must reason it out. I must toil harder." And so they walk past the very door where their supply is waiting. But those who have learned to obey the hunch, to trust the inner nudge, to follow the still small voice, find themselves led straight into channels of provision they could never have plotted. This is why I tell you, never ignore intuition, never dismiss it as nothing, never brush it aside because it does not align with appearances. Spirit sees what you do not. Spirit knows what you cannot. Spirit directs you perfectly, if only you will listen and obey. So let this be your decree. I am always led to my wealth. Infinite intelligence guides me now. I hear and obey the voice of intuition, and I am always in the right place at the right time, receiving my supply under grace, in perfect ways. Say it daily, and then watch for the hunches, the nudges, the quiet whispers. And when they come, obey them without fear. For your decree opens the channel, and your obedience to intuition keeps it flowing. And if you would end 2025 richer than you ever dreamed, you must not only decree wealth with your tongue, but also follow the guidance of Spirit with your steps. For decree plants the seed, and intuition leads you to the harvest. When night comes and the body rests, the conscious mind lays down its tools, but the subconscious does not slumber. It is the faithful servant that takes the last command you give it and works on it without pause. Most people go to bed rehearsing their troubles, their unpaid bills, their fears about tomorrow. They water the weeds of lack with their tears, and then they wonder why they rise in the morning to find the same briars growing stronger. The subconscious is a fertile garden. It does not argue, it does not judge, it simply takes the seed sown into it and brings it to life. If the seed is fear, it yields fear. If the seed is poverty, it yields poverty. But if the seed is abundance, if the seed is peace, if the seed is thanksgiving, then the subconscious must bring forth that harvest in the visible world. I have seen it again and again. Those who understood this law began to watch the last words they spoke before sleep, and their lives changed. One woman had a habit of sighing at night. I am so tired of struggle. Nothing ever comes to me. She wondered why morning after morning she felt heavier, poorer, more discouraged. I told her, do not go to sleep rehearsing defeat. Say instead, God is my unfailing supply. Tomorrow brings blessings untold. She obeyed, and within weeks she saw unexpected money flow, new strength rise, and fresh opportunities appear. The law had not changed, only the seed she sowed had changed. Think of it this way. The subconscious at night is like soft wax, ready to take the impression of whatever stamp you press upon it. Press the stamp of lack, and lack hardens. Press the stamp of wealth, and wealth appears. This is why Scripture says, I will lay me down in peace and sleep, for thou, Lord, only makest me dwell in safety. That verse itself is a decree for the night, a seed of peace sown before sleep. It is no accident that so many of the Psalms read like bedtime prayers, for David understood that the subconscious keeps watch in the night. Now I ask you, what are the words you have been carrying into your sleep? Have you been whispering complaints? Have you been sighing over unpaid debts? Have you been repeating the failures of the day? Then you must not be surprised that tomorrow is but yesterday repeated. But change the decree, change the seed, and the whole harvest must change. Let your last words before sleep be words of riches, words of gratitude, words of strength. For night is the great gateway to the subconscious, and what you say at that threshold determines what shall walk into your tomorrow. So let us decree together. I rest tonight in the riches of God. My supply is endless, immediate, and secure. Large sums of money come to me quickly, under grace, in perfect ways. Say it slowly, with faith, and let it be the final impression stamped upon your mind as you close your eyes. Then rest, knowing the subconscious will work all night to make it visible. Here is something most never do, and because they neglect it, their decrees are hindered, their affirmations are delayed, and their harvests are tangled with weeds. Before you lay down to sleep, you must cast your burdens. For the subconscious is faithful, but it is also literal. If you carry into the night the weight of your unpaid bills, the sting of your disappointments, the fear of tomorrow, then those burdens are planted in the soil along with your decrees. You may try to speak words of wealth, but the weeds of worry choke them, and the harvest comes slow and mixed. But if you cast the burden, if you release the worry, if you lay down the fear, then the soil is clear, the ground is open, and the seed of abundance may grow swiftly and unhindered. The Scripture says, cast thy burden upon the Lord, and he shall sustain thee. It does not say drag it into your sleep. It does not say hold it in your chest all night. It says cast it, fling it, release it into the hands of the Christ within. For the Christ within you is the true self, the eternal spirit that knows no lack, no fear, no debt, no defeat. When you hand over your burden, you are not dropping it into nothingness. You are entrusting it to infinite intelligence, which alone knows how to resolve it in perfect ways. The subconscious, then, is freed from the weight of your worry and may work purely on the decree you plant. I recall a man who came to me saying, Miss Shinn, I affirm abundance every night, but still I wake anxious, and still the money does not come. I asked him, what is the last thing you think of before sleep? He said, I stare at my bills, I calculate how short I am, I wonder how I will manage. I told him, then you are planting weeds before planting seed. You must first clear the ground. Each night, before you affirm abundance, say aloud, I cast this burden of debt upon the Christ within me, and I go free. Say it until you feel the weight lift. Do not carry the bills into your sleep. Release them into spirit and let spirit handle them. He obeyed, and within weeks, new channels opened, unexpected money came, and his debts dissolved. Why? Because he no longer clogged his subconscious with burdens. He had cleared the way for supply. You must understand, you are not meant to carry burdens. You are not built to drag them through your mind all night. They do nothing but choke your decree and drain your energy. Cast them, fling them upon the Christ within. Say, I cast this burden upon the Christ within me. I go free to sleep, free to rest, free to prosper. And once you say it, refuse to take it back. Refuse to rehearse the worry again. Refuse to argue with appearances. Trust that infinite intelligence is already working, even as you sleep. So make it your holy practice. Each night, before you affirm riches, before you plant the decree of supply, cast the burden. Empty your chest of fear, release your grip on the bills, surrender your worry to the Christ within. Then, with soil cleared, speak your decree of abundance, and rest while the law multiplies it. For burden-bearing is the work of fear, but burden-casting is the work of faith, and faith is the atmosphere where wealth grows. Once the burden has been cast and the soil cleared, then comes the most important act of the day, the planting of the wealth decree. The subconscious at night is like a field waiting for seed, wide open, unguarded, impressionable, ready to carry whatever is spoken into demonstration. And you must not let that hour pass with weeds sown, nor with silence, nor with fear. You must plant, and you must plant richly. For the words you speak before sleep will be the servants of your tomorrow, working through the night to bring forth their kind. I have told my students again and again, your final words at night will meet you in the morning. If you lie down whispering, I am broke, I am tired, I am behind, then those very words will be waiting at your bedside, clothed in the circumstances of another day of struggle. But if you lie down declaring, I am rich in God's supply, money flows to me endlessly, large sums arrive quickly, under grace, in perfect ways, then those words too will greet you at dawn, clothed in opportunities, gifts, checks in the mail, unexpected channels opening. You decide which servants to send into the night. You decide which harvest will rise to meet you. There was once a woman who came to me, weary with years of lack, worn with fear of bills. I told her, tonight, instead of rehearsing your fears, speak only this before you close your eyes. God is my unfailing supply. Large sums of money come to me quickly, under grace, in perfect ways. Say it until you feel peace. Say it until the anxiety loosens. Say it until the words sink like a stone into the quiet waters of your soul. Then sleep and let the law work. She obeyed. Within a week, she received money she had not expected. Within a month, debts dissolved. And within a year, she was living in more abundance than she had ever known. Not because she toiled harder, not because she found some new scheme, but because she planted wealth words in the night and allowed the subconscious to multiply them. Do not think this is too simple. Do not dismiss it as childish. The subconscious is childlike. It takes what you give it, and it brings it forth. Plant weeds, reap weeds. Plant riches, reap riches. It is impartial, exact, and faithful. So do not go to bed empty. Do not leave the soil bare. Do not let fear be the last impression. Plant wealth words, vivid, strong, rhythmic, clothed in faith, and plant them nightly until the groove is cut deep, until the record plays on its own, until the song of wealth is the very background music of your subconscious. So let us decree together now, as practice for your night, God is my unfailing supply. Large sums of money come to me quickly, under grace, in perfect ways. I rest in abundance. I wake in abundance. I walk in abundance. 2025 ends richer than I ever dreamed. Speak it slowly. Speak it firmly. Speak it as though you were a king issuing orders, for you are, and your subconscious is the loyal servant that will obey. And then sleep in peace, for the seed is planted and the harvest is already on its way. There was once a woman who came to me trembling, for she faced a lawsuit, and the judgment against her seemed certain. She owed $3,000, and to her it might as well have been $3 million, for she had nothing, no resources in sight, no friend to call upon, no way she could reason out of her predicament. Fear had taken hold of her, and fear spoke constantly in her ear. You will lose everything. You will be ruined. You will be cast out. She came to me desperate, expecting perhaps that I would suggest some scheme, some worldly solution, some plan to reason her way out. But I said to her, your supply is not reason. Your supply is not chance. Your supply is not the courts of men. Your supply is God, unfailing, immediate, and abundant. And you must speak that law now, even when appearances shout the opposite. She looked at me in disbelief. But Miss Shinn, the papers have been served, the case is moving forward, the debt is undeniable. And I answered, yes, appearances are undeniable, but appearances are not truth. They are the shadows cast by yesterday's decrees. If you want a new outcome, you must speak a new word. You must plant a new seed, I told her. Say aloud, God is my unfailing supply. Large sums of money come to me quickly, under grace, in perfect ways. This debt is dissolved, this lawsuit is dismissed, everything is settled for my good. Say it, not once, not timidly, but daily, faithfully, until your subconscious accepts it. She obeyed, though fear still clung to her. Each day she spoke the decree, each night she planted it before sleep. Each time fear whispered, it is hopeless, she answered with, God is my unfailing supply. Large sums of money come to me quickly, under grace, in perfect ways. She fought not with fists, but with faith, not with toil, but with truth. And the days passed, and the deadline of the court drew near, and still there was no money in sight. Yet she clung to her decree. She refused to rehearse the fear. She chose only to speak supply. Then, in the final hour, the demonstration came. A channel opened that she had never considered. Money arrived suddenly, enough not only to cover the debt, but to dissolve the whole lawsuit. The judge dismissed the case, the matter was settled, and she walked free. Those around her called it a miracle, a coincidence, a stroke of luck. But she and I knew it was law. The decree had gone forth, the subconscious had obeyed, the channel had been chosen by infinite intelligence, and the money had come exactly in time, under grace, in perfect ways. Do you see the lesson? If she had spent those weeks rehearsing her fear, she would have multiplied fear, and the outcome would have been loss. If she had spoken poverty, she would have reaped poverty. But she chose to speak supply, and supply appeared. She planted abundance in the night, and abundance ripened in the day. The debt dissolved not because of toil or chance, but because the law always fulfills the word spoken in faith. So if you face debts today, if 2025 threatens you with lack, do not bow to fear. Do not rehearse ruin. Say instead, God is my unfailing supply. Large sums of money come to me quickly, under grace, in perfect ways. Every debt is dissolved, every bill is paid, every channel is open, my abundance is secure. Say it daily, say it nightly, say it until fear flees and faith sings within you. For the same law that dissolved her 3,000 will dissolve your burden too, and 2025 can end not in debt, but in freedom, not in ruin, but in riches, not in despair, but in abundance beyond what you dreamed. There was once a student of mine who came to me with a dream, a simple dream to open a tea room. To her, it was not a grand scheme, not a plan to rival the wealthy merchants of the city, but a small desire. A quiet place, a table set, a cup poured, and a few customers to sustain her. Yet even this small dream seemed far beyond her, for she had no capital to speak of, no investors behind her, no certainty that people would come. Reason told her it was folly. Friends warned her she would fail. Appearances shouted, "You cannot." But she had learned the law, and she chose to believe the word rather than appearances. She came to me and asked, "Miss Shinn, can I truly expect this little dream to prosper?" And I said to her, "Not only can it prosper, but it can overflow if you speak the right word and stand on it without fear." So I gave her a decree. I have a wonderful work in a wonderful way. I give wonderful service for wonderful pay, under grace, in perfect ways, I told her. Say it daily, say it when doubt rises, say it when fear whispers, say it when appearances mock you. Plant it in your subconscious, and let the law carry it out. She obeyed, she spoke it faithfully. And when the time came to open her tea room, she did so with little more than her faith and her decree. The first days were quiet, and fear pressed upon her, whispering, "You will fail." But she refused to repeat the lie. She answered only with her word, "I have a wonderful work in a wonderful way. I give wonderful service for wonderful pay, under grace, in perfect ways." And then the miracle began. One customer told another, who told another still, until soon the little tea room was filled daily. The tables were never empty. The air rang with laughter, the cups clinked without pause, and the business prospered far beyond what she had imagined. Her small dream became an overflowing stream of abundance. What reason had mocked, decree had fulfilled. She had not won her success by clever advertising, nor by desperate schemes, nor by toil beyond her strength. She had spoken the word, she had held to it in the face of appearances, and the law had answered with exactness. Do you see the lesson? The size of your dream does not matter. What matters is the decree you plant and the faith with which you hold it. Some think the law works only for great fortunes, only for grand undertakings. But I tell you, it works just as faithfully for a tea room as for an empire. For the law is no respecter of persons, no respecter of scale. It responds only to the word, whether for 6 pence or 6 million. Speak lack, and lack comes. Speak abundance, and abundance comes. Speak overflow, and overflow appears. So I ask you now, what is your tea room? What is the dream you dismiss as too small, too far, too difficult? Do not bury it. Do not despise it. Plant it with a decree. Say daily, I have a wonderful work in a wonderful way. I give wonderful service for wonderful pay, under grace, in perfect ways. Say it when appearances mock you. Say it when fear trembles in your chest. Say it until the subconscious accepts it. And then watch how channels open, how doors swing wide, how your little dream becomes a river of supply. For the law does not ask how big or small your desire is. It only asks what seed you are planting. Plant fear, reap failure. Plant faith, reap overflow. My student planted overflow, and her tea room prospered beyond her wildest vision. And you, too, may end 2025 with your tea room overflowing, if you will only speak the word and hold it. There was a woman who once came to me with her purse nearly empty. She had only $2 left to her name, and in her eyes, those $2 were little more than a cruel reminder of lack. She clutched them as though they were her last hope, and yet her heart sank, for she could not imagine how so small a sum could ever carry her through her needs. She said to me, "Miss Shinn, I do not know what to do. This purse is thin, my life is barren, I see no way out." And I answered her not with sympathy, but with truth. I said, "Do not curse your purse, for what you curse shrinks. Bless your purse, for what you bless multiplies. Do not call it empty. Call it crammed, jammed, bulging with money under grace, in perfect ways." She looked at me in astonishment. How could $2 be called crammed? How could a thin purse be called bulging? But I told her, it is not what you see that matters. It is what you say. The law does not obey appearances, it obeys decrees. The subconscious does not care what is in the purse, it only hears what you speak over it. Speak lack, and lack multiplies. Speak abundance, and abundance multiplies. Your purse will not answer to reason, but it will answer to blessing. So I instructed her. Each day, place her hand upon her purse, look at those $2, and declare, I bless this purse. It is crammed, jammed, bulging with money, under grace, in perfect ways. She obeyed, though appearances mocked her. Her friends laughed, saying, You cannot fill a purse with words. But she chose to trust the law rather than the laughter. Each day she blessed her purse. Each day she spoke her decree. And as she persisted, something remarkable happened. Within a short time, a channel opened, a gift she had never expected, and into her hands came $6,000. What had been a purse of lack became a purse overflowing, because her words had commanded it. The $2 had not multiplied themselves, but the law had responded to her decree and opened channels that appearances could never have predicted. Do you see the lesson? She did not rehearse her lack. She did not confess her emptiness. She did not sigh over her purse. She blessed it. She spoke vivid words over it. She pictured it crammed and jammed and bulging, and the subconscious, faithful servant that it is, hastened to fulfill the command. Words of blessing created a harvest of blessing. Words of increase brought increase. She had proved that your word is your wand, and when you wave it with faith, money must obey. Now I ask you, how have you been speaking over your purse? Do you open it and sigh, there is nothing here? Do you call it empty? Do you curse its thinness? Do you mutter over its lack? Then you are only multiplying poverty. But change your decree, and you change your harvest. Place your hand on your purse, no matter how light it feels, and say aloud, I bless this purse. It is crammed, jammed, bulging with money, under grace, in perfect ways. Say it until you feel the words press deeper than appearances. Say it until your subconscious accepts the picture. Say it until you begin to see the channels open and the money flow. For the purse will not answer to appearances, but it will always answer to decree. So I tell you, never curse your money, never curse your purse, never call it empty, never speak lack over it. Bless it, praise it, call it full, decree it bulging, for what you bless multiplies, and what you decree appears. The woman with $2 proved it when her purse was filled with 6,000, and you may prove it too. Speak the word, hold to the word, and the law will not fail you. Now I tell you plainly, the subconscious does not answer to pale words. It does not move at faint hopes. It does not quicken at timid phrases. It stirs when it is struck with vivid decrees, when words fall like fire into its depths, when sentences paint pictures so strong that the imagination cannot help but see them. Weak affirmations are like shadows. They flicker for a moment and vanish. Vivid affirmations are like chisels. They carve grooves so deep that the subconscious must play them back into form. That is why I teach my students to use words full of color, rhythm, life, words that paint pictures so sharp that the subconscious sees them as already done. Do you remember the woman with the purse? She did not say, I hope this purse will have more. She did not murmur, perhaps money will come someday. She said, this purse is crammed, jammed, bulging with money. Do you hear the force of those words? Do you see the picture they create? You cannot say crammed, jammed, bulging without imagining a purse stuffed full, spilling over, unable to hold the riches pressed into it. That picture is what impressed her subconscious. That picture is what the law fulfilled, and that is why she received $6,000 instead of a trickle of coins. She spoke vividly, and the law answered vividly. Most people fail because they speak faintly. They say, I want more money. They say, I hope things get better. They say, maybe my luck will change. These are pale, lifeless phrases, and the subconscious does not stir. It does not build on maybes. It does not construct on wishes. But say instead, Money comes to me richly, freely, endlessly. Large sums of money come to me quickly, under grace, in perfect ways. My purse is crammed, jammed, bulging with money. My life overflows with gold and silver, with checks and gifts, with all that I need and more. Do you hear the difference? The words are full, alive, vivid, and the subconscious, childlike as it is, cannot resist them. It takes them as pictures, and it builds those pictures into fact. Think of it this way. If you give a builder only the vague instruction, "Build me something," he will hesitate. But if you say, "Build me a house with tall windows and shining floors and a red roof," then the builder can begin at once, for he sees the picture clearly. The subconscious is your builder, and your words are its plans. Give it vague blueprints, and it waits in confusion. Give it vivid blueprints, and it builds without delay. So I say to you, do not speak pale words over your supply. Do not murmur timid phrases. Use words that blaze. Use decrees that paint pictures. Let your affirmations be vivid, rhythmic, unforgettable. Say, I am crammed with wealth. My channels are jammed with abundance. My life is bulging with riches. I am overflowing with large sums of money, under grace, in perfect ways. Say it until you see it. Say it until you feel it. Say it until the picture burns into your subconscious. For the law will not argue, it will not resist, it will not hesitate. It will carry out the vivid decree as faithfully as it carried out the pale one. And if you decree vividly, your harvest will be vivid, not a trickle, but a flood, not a crumb, but a feast, not a penny, but a fortune. Now I must give you a warning and also a shield. The spoken word is powerful, exact, impartial. It will work for you whether you use it wisely or foolishly, whether you decree in faith or decree in ignorance. That is why I tell every student, never speak a decree without clothing it in grace. For grace is the safeguard of the law. Grace is the perfect adjustment. Grace is the gentle hand of infinite intelligence that ensures what comes to you, blesses all concerned, and brings no hidden sorrow with it. The scripture says, "The blessing of the Lord, it maketh rich, and he addeth no sorrow with it." Do you hear? Riches alone are not proof of blessing. There are those who gain money through strain, through schemes, through channels that bind them, and their wealth is shadowed with sorrow. But when you add grace to your decree, sorrow is forbidden. When you speak, under grace, in perfect ways, you ensure that every channel is right, every increase is safe, every gift is pure blessing. I once knew a woman who wanted wealth through a certain channel. She said, "It must come through this man, it must come through this way." She clung to her desire, narrow and strained, and though money did arrive, it came with entanglement, with unrest, with shadows she had not foreseen. She had forced the law into her limited picture, and her demonstration carried the strain of her forcing. But when at last she surrendered and began to add, under grace in perfect ways, the law adjusted itself. The old entanglement dissolved, and supply came through a better channel, smooth, harmonious, free. Grace had perfected her decree. Do you see the power of those words? They are not decoration, they are direction. They hand the outcome to infinite intelligence, which alone sees the whole, which alone knows every channel, which alone can select the way that blesses all. Without grace, your decree may still bring money, but it may come through means that weary you, bind you, or even harm another. With grace, your decree must come through ways that are clean, that are swift, that are safe. Grace is the filter that removes sorrow, the compass that keeps the channel straight, the mantle that clothes every blessing in peace. So from this day forward, never decree without it. Do not say, "Large sums of money come to me quickly." Say, "Large sums of money come to me quickly, under grace, in perfect ways." Do not say, "My purse is bulging with money." Say, "My purse is bulging with money, under grace, in perfect ways. Do not say, I have endless supply. Say, I have endless supply under grace in perfect ways. For the words under grace, release the demonstration from your limited picture and place it in the hands of the infinite, who never errs, who never delays, who never brings harm. And let me tell you, wealth that comes with grace is wealth that delights, wealth that strengthens, wealth that multiplies joy. It comes as easily as rain upon thirsty fields. It flows as smoothly as rivers to the sea. It carries no sorrow, no unrest, no regret. It blesses not only you, but all whom it touches. This is the wealth you desire, and this is the wealth that under grace in perfect ways ensures. So decree it now, aloud. God is my unfailing supply. Large sums of money come to me quickly, under grace in perfect ways. Say it again, and feel the safety in those words. Say it again, and feel the peace they bring. For grace is your shield, and perfect ways are your guarantee. Now I give you the law of multiplication, the law that unlocks increase in every area of life, gratitude and praise. Most people think Thanksgiving is what you give after the blessing arrives, a polite nod to heaven once the gift is in your hand. But in truth, gratitude is the cause of increase, not the result. Praise is not the echo of riches, it is the seed that grows them. What you bless multiplies. What you thank expands. What you praise flourishes. Complaint contracts, murmuring withers, cursing diminishes. But gratitude multiplies, thanksgiving expands, praise accelerates. This is not sentiment, this is law. Did not the Master himself prove it when he stood before 5 loaves and 2 fishes and thousands of hungry people? He did not wring his hands, saying, "This is not enough." He did not curse the little. He lifted it, he blessed it, he gave thanks for it, and in his thanksgiving the multiplication began. The little became much, the few became many, the not enough became more than enough, until every soul was fed, and 12 baskets overflowed besides. That is the power of gratitude. That is the law of praise. I once had a student who sighed daily, "I have so little. I never have enough." And little by little, her affairs shrank until almost nothing remained. I told her, "Stop cursing what you have. Stop despising the little. Begin to thank it. Begin to bless it. Begin to praise it." She obeyed reluctantly, placing her hand on her thin purse and saying aloud, "I thank God for this money. I bless it, and I call it multiplied. I praise the source from which it came." At first she felt foolish, for the purse still felt light. But she persisted, and soon unexpected money flowed to her, debts dissolved, and her purse grew heavier. The little had been multiplied because she blessed it. Do you not see? The money in your hand responds to your word. If you curse it, it withers. If you despise it, it flees. If you thank it, it multiplies. If you bless it, it expands. The same is true of your home, your food, your opportunities. Bless your food, and it nourishes you more. Bless your home, and it becomes a place of peace. Bless your work, and it grows fruitful. Bless your purse, and it bulges with supply. This is why I tell you, never again curse what you hold. Bless it, thank it, praise it, and it must increase. So tonight, before you sleep, look at whatever sum is in your hand, no matter how small, and say aloud, "I thank God for this money. I bless it. I praise it. It is multiplied and increased, under grace, in perfect ways." Say it daily, and watch how swiftly increase comes. For the law cannot resist thanksgiving. The subconscious cannot resist praise. What you thank, it multiplies. What you bless, it expands. What you praise, it accelerates, until your life is overflowing with more than enough. Now we come to the threshold of the great sentence itself. But before the decree can be planted, the ground must be prepared. No farmer casts seed upon a field choked with weeds. No builder lays a foundation on sand. The subconscious is fertile soil, ready to produce in abundance. but it must be cleared of burdens, freed from fear, softened with praise, and moistened with thanksgiving. If you rush to plant without preparing, your decree will still sprout, but its roots will fight against thorns, its leaves will be stunted, its fruit delayed. But if you prepare the subconscious, if you cleanse it of worry, if you release its burdens to the Christ within, if you fill it with gratitude until it hums with peace, then the decree will fall upon it like rain upon soft earth, and the harvest will be swift, sure, and abundant. The first step is release. Fear must be cast out, burdens must be laid down, debts must be flung into the hands of Spirit. Do not drag the day's failures into the night. Do not clutch your bills as though they were chains you must carry into sleep. Say instead, I cast this burden upon the Christ within me, and I go free. Say it until you feel the weight lift, until your chest loosens, until your mind quiets. This is not imagination, it is law. The burden cannot remain when it has been given to infinite intelligence, for spirit cannot be burdened, spirit cannot be crushed, spirit cannot fail. Once you cast it, you are free, and the soil is clear. The second step is thanksgiving. Do not let the subconscious lie empty after release, for weeds grow quickly in empty fields. Fill it at once with gratitude. Say, I thank God for my immediate and endless supply. I bless the money I have, and it multiplies. I praise divine substance that fills my life richly. Feel the shift as you speak it. Gratitude softens the soil, praise enriches it, thanksgiving prepares it to receive the seed. The subconscious responds swiftly to thanksgiving, for it carries the vibration of increase. What you thank multiplies. What you bless expands. What you praise flourishes. The third step is peace. Do not plant your decree in agitation. Do not hurl it into the soil like a stone thrown in anger. Plant it gently, rhythmically, with peace in your chest and calm in your voice. Speak slowly, firmly, with certainty. Let each word fall like a seed placed carefully into the earth. Feel the stillness as you do, for it is in stillness that the subconscious opens widest. A decree planted in peace will grow faster than one hurled in frenzy, for peace is the atmosphere of spirit, and spirit works without strain. So each night, before you speak the great decree of abundance, prepare your subconscious. Cast every burden. I cast this burden upon the Christ within me, and I go free. Fill yourself with thanksgiving. I thank God for my immediate and endless supply. Bless what you hold. I bless this purse, this home, this day, and I call it multiplied. Enter into peace, calm and unshaken. And then, and only then, plant the decree. For when the soil is clear, when the heart is thankful, when the mind is at peace, the subconscious will seize upon the word like hungry earth seizes rain, and the harvest will be swift and full. Now we stand at the high place, the summit toward which every lesson has been climbing, the very point where preparation meets decree, where fear has been cast out, where thanksgiving fills the soul, where peace has settled like a mantle, and now the word of power must be spoken. For it is the word, and only the word, that turns shadows into substance, lack into riches, delay into sudden demonstration. The subconscious is waiting, open and fertile, the soil cleared and softened, the atmosphere charged with praise. And here, at this moment, you must plant the decree that will shape your tomorrow, that will clothe 2025 in riches, that will draw to you large sums of money under grace in perfect ways. The sentence is this: God is my unfailing supply. Large sums of money come to me quickly, under grace, in perfect ways. Say it aloud, say it slowly, say it with the weight of law. Do not let it slip from your lips as though it were a wish cast into the air. Speak it as a decree, as a command, as the very word of truth clothed in your own voice. When you say, God is my unfailing supply, you are not asking, you are not pleading, you are not bargaining. You are declaring what has always been true. You are stripping away the lie of lack, the shadow of want, the fear of tomorrow, and declaring that your source is not wages, not chance, not men, not markets, but God, unfailing, endless, immediate, abundant. That one line alone is enough to dissolve fear, for when you know your supply is God, you know it cannot fail. Then say, "Large sums of money come to me quickly." Do not whisper it timidly. Do not reduce it to enough or just a little more. Speak of large sums, for the law responds to the size of your decree. If you ask for crumbs, crumbs you will have. If you declare loaves, loaves will come. If you decree great harvests will appear. Say large sums and see them in your mind. Checks arriving, debts dissolved, purses filled, channels overflowing. And say quickly, for delay is not law. Supply is immediate when spoken in faith. Do not push it into a distant future. Call it now, plant it now, declare it now, and then add the mantle of grace, under grace, in perfect ways. These 4 words are your shield, your safeguard, your assurance that what comes will come without sorrow, without harm, without entanglement. They release the demonstration from your limited picture and place it in the hands of infinite intelligence, which always chooses the perfect channel, the swiftest way, the path that blesses all concerned. With grace, your decree cannot bring strain, it cannot bring shadow, it cannot bring loss. It can only bring blessing, abundance, joy, peace. So say it again, this time letting it sink deeper. God is my unfailing supply. Large sums of money come to me quickly, under grace, in perfect ways. Feel the words impress themselves upon your subconscious. Feel them stamping the groove, cutting the record, engraving the decree. Each repetition is a blow against the old record of lack. Each declaration is a seed of wealth planted in the soil. Each word is law going forth, and the law never returns void. Say it nightly before sleep. Say it daily upon waking. Say it whenever fear whispers or appearances mock you. And then rest, for the seed is planted, and the subconscious is already working through channels you cannot see, opening doors you cannot imagine, arranging ways you could not have plotted. Do not dig up the seed by doubting. Do not trample it with complaint. Leave it in the soil, watered with praise, clothed in grace, and watch as the harvest appears, swiftly, abundantly, gloriously. For this is the decree that will end 2025 richer than you ever dreamed. This is the sentence that will dissolve your debts, fill your purse, open your channels, and overflow your affairs. This is the word that cannot fail. God is my unfailing supply. Large sums of money come to me quickly, under grace, in perfect ways. Now that you have spoken the great decree, you must understand one more truth, a truth that saves countless souls from frustration, disappointment, and doubt. It is this: you must not dictate the channel through which your supply will come. The law does not need your reasoning. The law does not wait upon your plotting. The law is not bound to the channels you can imagine. Infinite intelligence holds 1,000 ways where you see only one, and its ways are swifter, smoother, safer, more abundant than anything you could contrive. When you decree, God is my unfailing supply. Large sums of money come to me quickly, under grace, in perfect ways. You must leave the how in the hands of spirit. If you clutch at channels, if you demand that it must come through this job, or that person, or that scheme, you tie the hands of the law. But if you release the channel, if you trust infinite intelligence, then the way opens swiftly, and often by paths you would never have imagined. I have seen this again and again. One man insisted that his wealth must come through a certain contract. He prayed, he pleaded, he even affirmed, but he affirmed with limitation. It must be this deal, it must be this path. And though he strove, the contract failed. He came to me discouraged, saying, "Miss Shinn, the law does not work." I told him, "No, the law always works. It is you who are strangling it with your insistence. Release the channel. Say, I have large sums of money coming to me quickly, under grace, in perfect ways. I do not limit the source. I do not dictate the method. Infinite intelligence chooses the channel, and it is perfect. He obeyed, though reluctantly, and within weeks, money flowed to him from an entirely different direction. A legacy he had never expected, a gift that came without toil, without strain. His supply had been waiting all along, but his insistence had blocked it. Once he released the how, the law was free to act. Do you not see? The farmer does not dig up his seed to check if it is growing. He plants, he waters, he rests, and the earth brings forth. The same is true of your decree. Plant it, water it with thanksgiving, shield it with grace, and then rest. Do not scratch at the soil with anxious hands. Do not pace the field muttering, "Why has it not sprouted yet?" Rest, trust, believe. Infinite intelligence is already working, arranging, directing, opening channels you could never have designed. Your only part is to decree and to keep your faith. The law's part is to fulfill it in perfect ways. So from this day forward, when you speak your decree, refuse to dictate. Do not say, it must come through this job, it must come through this person, it must come through this plan. Say instead, God is my unfailing supply. Large sums of money come to me quickly, under grace, in perfect ways. I rest in faith. I release the channel. Infinite intelligence chooses the way, and it is perfect. Say it daily, say it faithfully, and then go about your life with peace, knowing that the decree is already at work. And as you rest, you will find yourself led by intuition into perfect steps. A hunch will rise, a door will open, a phone call will come, a letter will arrive, and you will know that Spirit has chosen the channel. You will find yourself in the right place at the right time, not by strain, not by struggle, but by the gentle leading of the law. This is the peace of resting in faith. This is the ease of trusting infinite intelligence. This is the freedom of knowing that the how is none of your concern. So let this be your practice as 2025 unfolds. Decree boldly, bless continually, praise faithfully, and rest in peace. Refuse to dictate the method. Refuse to worry over the channel. Refuse to doubt the law. Rest and let the decree bear its harvest. For what you plant in faith must ripen in fact, and if you release the how, the harvest will come quickly, richly, gloriously, richer than you ever dreamed. Now we have walked together through the law, step by step, until the pattern is clear before your eyes. You have seen that words are never idle, that each one is a seed falling into the soil of the subconscious, and that seed must sprout after its kind. You have seen how careless phrases of lack carve grooves of poverty into your life, while bold decrees of wealth carve channels of supply that cannot fail. You have seen that toil without law is futility, but a single word of faith can accomplish what years of struggle never could. You have seen how fear is only faith inverted, faith clothed in shadows, and how it must be broken by the decree of abundance. You have seen how intuition is the guiding voice of spirit, leading you step by step into the right channels, and how obedience to the hunch opens doors no man could shut. You have seen how the night is sacred, how the subconscious lies open like fertile soil before sleep, waiting to receive the last word spoken, whether it be of poverty or of riches. You have seen why burdens must be cast before planting, why thanksgiving must fill the heart, why peace must clothe the mind, and how the decree planted in that atmosphere grows swiftly and without hindrance. You have been given the sentence itself, God is my unfailing supply. Large sums of money come to me quickly, under grace, in perfect ways. You have seen how it must be spoken, how it must be clothed in grace, how it must be released to infinite intelligence, and how you must rest in faith while the law fulfills it. So now I say to you, take this decree as your own. Do not let it be merely words heard once, forgotten as the day moves on. Make it the rhythm of your life. Speak it nightly before sleep. Speak it daily upon rising. Speak it whenever fear whispers, whenever appearances mock, whenever doubt tugs at your heart. Speak it until it is no longer only your voice, but the very echo of your soul. Speak it until the subconscious accepts it as the only law. Speak it until riches appear, until debts dissolve, until channels open, until 2025 ends not in lack, but in overflow, not in debt, but in abundance, not in shadow, but in light. And let us speak it now together, slowly, firmly, with thanksgiving in our voices. God is my unfailing supply. Large sums of money come to me quickly, under grace, in perfect ways. Say it again. Let it press deeper with each word. Say it until you feel the peace settle. Say it until your chest loosens. Say it until your whole being hums with assurance. For the word spoken in faith cannot return void. It must accomplish what it was sent to do. It must bring forth riches. It must open channels. It must multiply supply. That is not my promise. That is law. And here is my challenge to you. Take this sentence and make it your holy experiment. Speak it nightly for 7 days, faithfully, before sleep. Cast your burdens, fill your heart with thanksgiving, and plant this decree as your final word of the day. Do it for 7 nights, and then watch. Watch how money appears from unexpected directions, how opportunities rise, how debts dissolve, how burdens lift. Watch how swiftly the law works when the word is planted in fertile soil. You will see for yourself that spirit is unfailing, that supply is immediate, that grace is perfect. And when you have proved it, when your purse is heavier, when your channels are open, when your year is clothed in abundance, come further with me. For the law that multiplies your money is the same law that multiplies every blessing in your life. The decree that brings large sums into your hands is the same decree that multiplies every dollar you touch. So if you would know how to turn every coin, every check, every stream into multiplied increase, then go with me into the next teaching. This one sentence multiplies. Every dollar you touch for riches are not chance, they are law. And when you learn the law, when you speak the decree, when you rest in faith, you will see that there is no limit, no barrier, no hindrance, only the endless supply of God flowing to you now, under grace, in perfect ways. So I leave you with this final blessing. May your tongue be a wand of wealth. May your words be seeds of abundance. May your nights be gardens of planted decrees. May your mornings be fields of ripe harvest. May 2025 end for you, not in fear, but in riches, not in shadow, but in light, not in toil, but in joy. And may this sentence be your song until it becomes your flesh. God is my unfailing supply. Large sums of money come to me quickly, under grace, in perfect ways.